We are joined now by Trae Taylor, Nebraska 2027 quarterback commit. Trae, how are you this morning?
I'm great. How about you?
Oh, good. We are good. We appreciate you taking the time. We've got it on good authority. You're in the middle of speed training, and the link was giving you fits, and so you're adapting, hitting a curveball, and doing the phone with us, man. So we appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Trae, I got to ask you. So I've been fascinated watching since you've committed to Nebraska how quickly you've gone to work in terms of advocating for the university. Was that discussed through your recruiting process with Nebraska, or how did that come about where you just felt so convicted to be like, hey, now that I'm in, we got to get everybody else going too?
I think it's always kind of been like a plan in place for me to heavily recruit, honestly, wherever I went. But how nice Nebraska is and just the coaching staff and facilities, it just makes it 10 times easier to recruit there. So like people talk about how I've suddenly shown how I really want to get a mod to Nebraska, but people don't really see how this process has been going on for a little bit over 6 to 8 months really of me texting him and us just building this relationship. So the recruiting process it's been going on and me recruiting kids and trying to get all of us together in one place. It's been going on for a while.
One of the things I'm fascinated by, and I've watched you for a while, and the background I do play by play for the university and for the network, and I've gone to school there. I've got a kiddo that's on the team there now. I've seen this thing for 30 years up close, and so I always watch young people, and I always say to our fan base and people across the state of Nebraska, you always want to start with players that don't need a babysitter, right? That are self-motivated, that haven't always had the highest of highs, that have kind of managed lows. Like rigor is hard in college. One of the things that fascinates me about you watching you so far is your emotional maturity, where you seem like you've been here before. Like maybe you should have been born in another decade, or I don't know what it is, but very, very savvy and experienced for your age. You got to help our listeners or help me better understand like where that comes from, like where those seeds were planted in terms of how you deal with your day to day.
I mean, really, obviously for my parents, they've grown and installed that into me. But at the end of the day, a lot of it comes with having that emotional part is having hard days, that people don't always see. So when it looks like it's a hard day, it's really just a normal day in the office. So for me, it's really like I've definitely gone through a lot more than what you guys have seen so far, as just football alone, just like that part. So really, you kind of got to think about like what worse have I been through and where does it stand, right? So, and I think of it like this: I'm in college. I'm in a college atmosphere now. Like this can't be this day was hard. No, it's got to be this day was easy, and it gets harder.
Wow. That's incredible. See, people make fun of me, Trae, because sometimes, I overshare, and I tell this story about being benched on national television against UCLA in the early '90s, and kind of how it was the springboard for me to understand highs and lows and to navigate. And you're always talking about how we don't see what's the hard part of actual football. When you're going through those days and you may not want to get up, or the workout is tough, or we may only see the stats. We don't see maybe you're hurt, or maybe the teammates aren't vibing, or maybe the hometown fans are hard on you because you're not going to that school, or whatever it is. How do you reset? Like where's the point in which you tell yourself, like from a self-awareness standpoint, like, you know what? This isn't that bad. On to the next thing. Like, how do you do that self-awareness real time?
Honestly, it's for the high school part. I got everybody watching me, and like that's as simple as it is. You can't expect to be a leader and not have everybody watching you. So I think that's the biggest part. And then thinking ahead to college football, I got again everybody watching me, and there's even bigger standards there. So it's not living up to those standards; it's living up to my standards.
Trae, so as you talk about that and you talk about living up to your standards, I can see why you and Coach Rhule vibed right off the bat there, because that's something he talks about.
He sounds just like you.
Constantly. Sounds like we're talking to a clone of Coach Rhule here, actually, a little bit, which I love. But I do wonder, like, with that, hey, everybody's watching. To you, Coach Rhule has this saying, pressure is a privilege. Is that how you navigate the fact that there is a little bit more pressure with everybody's watching? You understand that's part of the privilege of what you get to do?
Yeah, I think pressure is more of something people put on themselves, because you shouldn't have pressure if you love what you're doing.
From a preparation standpoint, Trae, one of the things that Coach Rhule talks about is like just your football acumen, your football IQ. And sometimes I think people think, oh, it's just 7-on-7. It's not real football. Then they go back and they pit it against the tape. When you're talking about acumen or football IQ, I should say, how does 7-on-7 help you as it relates to what you actually are going to be doing on Friday nights and an eventual on Saturdays?
Well, 7-on-7 is a lot faster than real football, if we're being honest. I mean,
wow. Said no one ever. I like it.
Well, so like think about it. Yeah, there's no O line or D line, but you, instead of linebackers, you have DBs.
Mm-hmm.
So you're literally going against 7 DBs. So windows get shorter. Kids are DBs now are 6'3", 6'2", 6'3" with long arms. So those windows get closer. They get shorter. Everything needs to be everything needs to be faster. So you also get, yes, that's true. Well, 7-on-7 is also easier because you get a clearer picture, because you don't have the O-line, D-line from a quarterback standpoint. So you see more clear the safeties rotate. You see when they spread. You see when a backer flies out and then leaves the middle wide open. So like you see that part easier, but it moves faster too, because they don't need to play the run game. They're just flying to the spots, and that's the truth in my opinion.
So Trae, as you're looking at, obviously you had the 7-on-7 with Battle at the Boneyard over the course of the weekend. I know you've been here a ton, but I know for a lot of the other guys that were here, it was their first time. Think back to your first time when you got on campus. It seems like a lot of people are kind of surprised at what Nebraska has to offer. What surprised you the first time you stepped on campus about what Nebraska actually had here?
A fan base.
What about a lot of stuff we hear about is fan base, facilities, just the cities around the university. How did that kind of impress you as you started to get more familiar with the area?
I mean, very impressive. I kind of know Lincoln like the back of my hand now. I went around it a lot this week, so it impressed me. But we're not going to school for a city. We're going to school for football and making sure that the city is represented well.
Trae, it's interesting as you're kind of watching this process, and just you have a couple of more years to go. How do you stay dialed in, kind of on the day-to-day, knowing that the future is what it is right now?
Like I said, when you love what you're doing, you live not day by day, but by workout, and really just here I'm worried about my workout right now, not my workout later with my team. So,
I mean, what are we talking about? Trae, how old are you again?
16.
When's your birthday?
September 2nd.
How long you been driving?
5 about to be a year and 2 months.
Wow.
3 months.
Just giving some perspective out there for those that are listening. Okay, so let's talk about kind of the process. I don't have the courage to ask my own kid. He had a recruit in town Saturday night with CJ, and our relationship, I try not to. It's father-son, so I don't want to say, well, gosh, why do they want you as a host, right? You just hope that it goes well. What have you been telling other guys about Nebraska that you think is kind of the mainstay of why people should be there, as somebody that's been a pretty good ambassador so far for the university in terms of your recruiting efforts? What is it that you gravitate towards, that you tell people that you think is why they should be in Lincoln?
That Coach Rhule is going to be the realest coach that you're going to get. I mean, he's going to tell it to you straight to your face whether you like it or not. So,
what does real mean, Trae? What does real mean? Is it sometimes he hurts your feelings and it's like he has my best interests at heart? Like, what does real mean for you?
I have a great example, actually.
Let's go.
Sunday at camp, obviously I had thrown a lot. I thrown quite a bit in at the 7-on-7, and it was more so from the coaching staff. They were more so a little freaked out. I might have been throwing a little too much, especially because they didn't know how much I was throwing at home. So Coach Rhule came and, hey, I'm your coach now, right? I'm going to pull you. You're done. More so just walk around, recruit, and, there's no need for you to throw anymore. I think that's the real part. Obviously, I didn't want to hear that because that's work I'm losing, but that's what I needed, and that's the best interest at heart for me.
Man, we hear that from a lot of guys that are on campus now, right after they've gotten to know Coach Rhule, is, sometimes he'll tell you something you don't want to hear. But part of it, the reason that they listen is because they understand early that he's got their best interest at heart. When did you realize that Coach Rhule had your best interest at heart?
I'm gonna say my last visit before committing there is when I really realized it. I'd heard about it and everything, but it was different. With him, it was, yes, we want you here. Yes, we really want you here. But if this isn't the best fit for you, then it's going to end up being a bad situation where you're going to be here and then you're going to be in the portal, or like this is going to hurt the team more than it's going to benefit you. So, if Nebraska wasn't the best fit for me, then it shouldn't have came or committed. And for other schools, it was what's the best fit for the university. And he made a good point. You got to care more about the name on the back of your jersey than the name on the front of your jersey.
Trae, easy person to cheer for. I'm glad our fan base is getting a chance with kind of you doing this car wash a little bit of doing a few interviews with some of the local folks, man. You get better each time, and proud of your accomplishments up to this point. We'll be cheering like crazy for you in the upcoming season, and it's hard to believe we got to wait 2 more of them till we get you, but huge fans of the work, man, and Nebraska knows they got a good one.
Thank you very much. Go Big Red.
Appreciate you, Trae. That's Trae Taylor, Nebraska 2027 quarterback commit. Got to get back to his workout.
Hey, did you catch the last part?
Yeah.
We literally just talked about you got to be for the university as much as the university is for you, and how other schools have been recruiting them just the other way.
Backwards.
I'm not dumb.
It's how everybody recruits, I think, for the most part. I think that's how most people recruit. What can you do for university? What can the university do for you?
If they win,
it's going to be a monster. And you're not going to – here's the thing. You're not going to get everybody because that's not for everybody.
No, I understand that.
But the ones you get, watch out. Watch out. Because it's not for everybody.
Shout out to those in the back.
The people gave it a hard time when that was the state slogan. Nebraska, it's not for everybody. It's really not.
It's not.
But for the people it's for, you love it here. Seems like Trae Taylor's one of those people.